Hey YouTubers, Charles here again, and I'm going to be showing off a few more machines I've made in today's episode. So let's get started. So here's the first machine I'm going to show off, and it's a stone block generator. And basically, to really use this, you're going to need a pickaxe with silk touch on it. In order to pick up the smooth stone, but you can use a normal pickaxe and you'll get cobblestone, and this basically generates stone or cobblestone indefinitely until this big cube fills up, and then it automatically turns off. There's also an on-off switch right here. I have it off right now, but as you can see, there's a repeater here, and it's pointing at a smooth stone block right now, and normally with the machine on, that's not a smooth stone block. But yeah, if the power's on, the power would come through that stone block, and it activates this piston. And there's actually, this is going to be a little tricky to show, but there's a piston. It's safe to remove right now. There's a piston down here as well that holds a glass block. So when the power comes through, this piston on the glass block pushes up, which kind of pushes into where the second lower piece of lava is. And then, because this has longer delay, then this piston will push the stone block out, and both pistons will then return to their original location. Right underneath this piston is some water, and so when pistons return to the original location, the water starts flowing across, and then the lava slowly falls down again, and when the full block of lava hits the water, it turns into a solid stone block. Stone bricks are a little different. Yeah, stone blocks, smooth stone blocks, are created when lava flows into water, while cobblestone blocks are formed when water flows into lava. So that's the difference. Let me just replace this here. So this is needed because the water flows here, and we want it to stop here, and not it'll flow over the glass block back there, but we don't want it to flow out here and ruin this repeater here. So what happens is this starts pushing a solid line of stone blocks, and then I have a little mechanism down at this end. It'll get as far as here and push the wood block. When it hits the wood block, it'll push the wood block, and the wood block winds up over this torch, which basically powers the wood block, which powers this line of redstone behind it. And there's a little edge detector here, and this sends out a pulse, a quick pulse, and the pulse travels down these blocks here and activates all these pistons, which would push the line of stone blocks to our left here, which basically makes this bottom level. There's a short delay here, so it gives enough time for all these pistons to retract. And then this piston fires, which pushes the block back to where it is currently. So that block basically acts as a detector for when this row here fills up. I believe I have 10 blocks before this wood block gets pushed. Similarly, when this whole row fills up, we have these 2 wood blocks here, and basically a very similar mechanism. It's arranged a little differently, and that's because it just wouldn't with the way what is happening is, if the power was pointed right at this block, it would cause this piston to prematurely move up and then stay in the up position. So I couldn't have the block that was on top of the piston be powered, and so this worked out to be the easiest way to get it all working the way I wanted. Let's stick that wood block back, But basically these 2 wood blocks get pushed, trigger all these pistons. This whole floor here is made of pistons. They all push up, and then again a few seconds later this pushes out. This is slightly complicated in that eventually this will reach a point where these pistons can't fire at all, because there's 12 blocks on top of them, more than 12 blocks. So I have a little circuit here that basically will keep retrying every 2 or 3 seconds, something like that. It's basically a little loop. And so yeah, you'd have to come up here, up these stairs, dig a layer off, and then this will fire again, pushing everything up and turning off that circuit. When it is in that setting where those pistons don't fire, it does automatically come back here and turn off the machine, so no more stone is pushed out, so this whole thing doesn't jam up. But let's turn this on and show you how it goes. See, there's the water. The lava comes down, turns into a block, and then the block is pushed up, and then you are right here, and that just did a whole row. See, it's coming out here. It's pretty quick. It's 2.5 seconds per block or so. And let's fly over to this side so you can really see what happens with these pistons. So it's about to push the wood block. And you can see it, once the wood block hits the end, the whole row of pistons here fires, which pushes the stone underneath the big pile, and then the wood block is pushed back into its original location. And let's just show off one row being made here. Alright, and then one more row and everything will get pushed up. Alright, let's come down here, and should be a good vantage point. And there you go. One row higher. I think it has one more row to go before it automatically turns off, but yeah, turn it off now, and it basically just makes one more block and then stops. So lava can't go down anymore, and the water's not pouring out anymore. Let me quick show you how this whole row of pistons gets pushed up. Basically, signal comes down here, and there's the pistons, and I basically have a block with torches on 3 sides, and the torch down here powers these blocks, which activates the pistons, where right here these directly activate the pistons, and I just have one row of torches under here keeping them all off. And because repeaters kind of push the signal through the block, it does the same over here, again the same thing, and over here, and then I just needed one last row, so I just have torches directly like that. So that's how it works, and that's kind of why I did it in kind of 3 sections with slight delays because of these repeaters. So that's the first machine. How do we get out of here? Oh, right here. And the second machine is actually quite similar, and it's over here. Again, for this machine, you're gonna need a pick with silk touch on it. But this is an ice machine, and it's kind of similar, but a bit different. Here we got, it's a snowy biome, and we have some water here exposed to the air. So randomly, the blocks that are exposed will freeze. Of course, while I'm looking at it, it's not going to freeze. Oh, there was one down there. And another one froze. Basically, surrounding these that can freeze is a set to the left and right and all along the edge here that are covered and so won't freeze. And so we got some sticky pistons here that pull the ice down periodically, and then there's another set of pistons. Here you can see the two sets of pistons. The sticky pistons will pull the ice blocks down, and then as soon as they're down, these set fire momentarily and push the blocks of ice forward, and then they retract and the sticky pistons go back up. There's a little, basically it's a ABBA switch again with sticky pistons set to always be up. And while it looks open there, right here, there's actually ice underneath here, and it's just because the way ice and water render, but you can see there's the ice with the water under it. This actually started off as a row of wood, just so the water wouldn't flow out initially, but as ice was created and the wood was, the ice was pushed, which pushed the wood, and I just removed the wood once we had the whole bottom there filled with ice. But yeah, we got a timer. I've used a hopper timer here. You can see it counting down. I think I have a one stack, so it runs about every 30 seconds or so. So basically, we got a whole row here of 12 ice generating positions, and it basically just pushes the ice forward. Now you can leave it there, but I didn't want to have to collect the ice so often. So once it goes forward far enough, I have some sticky pistons here that push it out, and then I have a whole wall of pistons that then attempt to push them forward. So you get basically a row of 12 ice blocks out front here, and then if that row can't fit anymore, the ice just gets pushed up and up until there's an empty row and it can be pushed forward. So you can then come out here with your Silk Touch pick and harvest any ice you could need for whatever purpose, item moving systems or whatever. So yeah, that's this ice machine, and I'll be right back with one more machine. Okay, here I am. I'm actually very far away from where we were before, but here is my tower records, way up there. Now, if you don't know, records are, well, they're music playing devices that are dropped by creepers only when the creeper is killed by a skeleton. So I built this to achieve that. Basically, it's a smaller version of the mob farm that I showed off a few videos ago, and that's this here. It's currently turned off. I actually have a few controls down here, and actually, you know, if you notice, you know, this is the exact mob grinder, mob killer, but I can switch it around. So let's turn the spawner on and turn record mode on, and stick that there. And so what this does is there's pistons that move these blocks around so that some of the creeps or mobs skeletons and creepers in particular that we need, but some zombies also, but they don't really cause any harm. They get redirected and diverted over here. And so the first thing we need is a skeleton. So we're trying to get a skeleton down over here. While we're waiting for the skeleton, we can build a snowman. So you need to build a snowman between the poles, get a skeleton, and then get creepers. So let's build a snowman. Now what's going to happen is when we do get a skeleton drop down here, or any mob for that matter, the snowman is going to start throwing snowballs at him. Skeletons will shoot back and eventually kill the snowman. But when they do, they don't stop shooting and will continue shooting over to this side. That's when we flip this switch and start having the mobs come down that side, and the fall is enough to get them to 1 heart, and then the skeleton's arrow will take them the rest of the way. So looks like we're gonna get a creeper first, and we don't want the creeper, so let's kill the creeper off. Kill the creeper off. Skeleton killed the snowman, but as you can see, the skeleton keeps firing into that little pocket there. So now we flip this, and that switches the water over here. And so now all the rest of the mobs will drop down this side, and these guys will just die off. We don't need them though. So now, if a creeper falls down here, you see any mob, they get the fall damages to them to 1 heart, or maybe even half heart, and then 1 arrow will kill them. There's a creeper. Oop. Not protected. When they do die, anything they drop is collected. And there you saw a record, and it landed in the hoppers down there. And you can just idle here, and all the records get collected in the hoppers here, brought over to this stack of chests, and you can come over here, and this is only maybe less than an hour of running, and we actually have 2 chests. This one just filled up as well, and the next item that we get should go in here and make this 3rd light show up. The lights indicate how many chests are full. Well, have items. 1 item is enough to turn on the light. But let's see. The way it works also, you take an item out and it automatically fills down. It's main creative, so it didn't take the record out of my inventory, but you can hear it plays music. If you don't know, a music player here is just 8 wood with a diamond in the center, and obviously this is how you get records. Just have obsidian there, just it's not necessary, just in case a creeper exploded, but pretty much eliminated that with. There was another record in the hopper. If you want to see that hopper kind of feeds back and then down and then underneath. Kind of have the same thing over here just to collect anything. Yeah, I hear the music from a long distance away. Had a bow drop before. Items are hung up somewhere, I think. No, I think that record missed. Yeah, we got a record landed on there. They seem to go really far for some reason sometimes. Yeah, they're not Logging up there. And all these are pointed in and then down here and then in. Oh, there we go. There's the third. Yeah. So you can use something like this, have music in your house or whatever. And it's a pretty complex build, but it's pretty much fully automatic. There are other ways of doing it, but it's a lot harder. That was a green record. There's that green record. And you can see this is filling pretty quick. And if you want to look at this, the back of this, you just have double chests. They're all normal double chests with hoppers, and it kind of just like feeds left to right. And we have in front of the hoppers a block with a comparator, and that goes into any block. But when that block gets powered, it causes the light to come on, and those comparators are just alternating. They're always in front of the hopper. And then the bottom level is a little tricky because you have to use two hoppers into this chest. We got an upside down stair there because it's not a solid block, so it allows you to still open the chest. This is just a half slab with the comparator on that, and then the comparator for turning on the bottom light actually points sideways. It turns off this torch, and then that torch, if it wasn't off, if that first chest was empty, that torch would then be powering this little strip of redstone, which powers this block, which turns off this torch, which would keep the bottom light out. So yeah, the bottom is the one tricky part. The rest of this is you can go up as high as you want. It fits in a 3x3 area with just 3 blocks further down than the bottom, but no higher than the top. You know, the top light is even with the top chest, and I just have this half slab on there for looks. Yeah, but it's my record producing machine. Ooh. That wasn't good. It's first time I had that happen. Well, let's fix this up real quick. Let's turn the machine off. As you can see, the fall now is far enough that they all die. In fact, pretty sure they were at one half a heart, 1 point of health. Normal health is 20. Because if they walked off this edge, just hitting here was enough to kill them. So I had some redstone here, and this is just goes up and turns on and off different features. And stone there. Now that was a sticky piston used to kill any leftover mobs once you turn the machine off. And had glass there just so that if you were standing over here, skeletons couldn't see you and shoot you. And I had a torch there, put one there, and looks like they also blew up a fence all the way out here. Yep. But that's this machine makes records. At the same time, it also does collect mob drops from the mobs that aren't brought into the record producing area. Basically, even at that smaller size, the spawner produces mobs far faster than I need them. Basically, the skeleton only shoots like once every second and a half, so you don't want mobs faster than that. So the rest are sent into the lava blade, and their drops are collected over here. So I hope you enjoyed this. I apparently need some more torches around here to prevent mobs from spawn. Oh yeah, a torch over there to prevent mobs from spawning on the machine. And have this half slab roof, so they shouldn't spawn there. Obviously, don't have enough light over here. Oh, missed. But yep, that's this machine, and hope you enjoyed watching it, and maybe some of you will attempt to build it on your own as well. So I'll see you next time. Good night.